Yeah, that question was asked, and I understand. So again, that's the literal view that people have. In other words, they join something, they do something, and they go, well, my goal is I want to go to the real universes. Well, that's like saying, well, I want to be the president of the United States. That would be easier, all right? So you have to figure out how to do it. You have to recognize it. You have to earn your way. And it's not a matter of just, I want. It's a matter of that you have to learn to figure it out in the personal self, recognize it in your real awareness, and be able to have the ability to maintain that awareness. You see? So it's like a big job, is what it is. And so at first, our personal self wants it because, we want to be free of the physical. Just like religious people. Why do they get down and pray every day? Look at religion. Why do they pray all day long? Because they want to be free of all the burden and all the nonsense that's going on here. But they don't realize that they need to face all of it for them to recognize what life is, because it's not about what they want. It's about what they can recognize and be, how real they can be, and step up and recognize what to do in the real universes, you see? So we have these ideas in creation where, basically religion, you're a good person, you'll go to heaven. That's going to a place. The real universes is not a place. It's an isness to be recognized, like the air you breathe. How many people actually consider the air they breathe? Basically, they don't. Yet, this is an example of the isness, like the sun shining. So, when this question is asked, it's from a personal side where the person does not understand what we're doing. And that's okay, because it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And it's just like going to, going to school or college. The first day, you don't ask the teacher, what's this course all about? And I want my doctorate, and, I want my degree or whatever it is, etc. Well, that's cute, but you still have to go through the course, don't you? You have to figure it out. You have to study, and you got to pass the tests. And this is what it is too. We have to pass continuous tests, step at a time, to recognize this. And so a very good example of someone who thought they were very special in their mind was Count Albertissini, who I knew for about 4 years. He was the nephew of the richest family in the world, the ancient Chinese Golden Dragon family in Hong Kong and other places. They own HSBC Bank and on and on and on, and they're the richest family in the world. They actually basically support the government of China and whatever, because they got all the bucks, because, well, they stole it a long time ago. They didn't work 9-to-5 jobs. But through their history, it became accumulated, and Albert was to also inherit with his other nephew. But he didn't want to go along with their protocol, so he stepped back and said no. Albert thought he was very special because he was raised with a silver spoon. He didn't have to do anything except point his finger and say, I want this and whatever. So, and Albert was a good guy. He was, but very naive. He had also been in Eckankar for many years, and then he found the new presentation through other people that I had met, etc., that were over there in Hong Kong. And so again, he adapted it right away. He kind of saw what I was doing, and so I approached him with funding some of the projects. At the time, it was the Vessel project. For the All-Natural Environment. He kept saying for years to Ava and I, oh yes, I'll do it, etc. And there's more to the story, but that's the basic idea. Well, he didn't do it, and he didn't care. and seeing him on the real side, and even other seers, that he was very afraid to just do something, etc. So the night before, the day before he left, on the real side, I was sitting with Albert in a booth, like in a restaurant, right across from him. He was sitting on one side, I was sitting on the other. And Revazar was right in back of me, but he was disguised as Rod Serling, the producer of The Twilight Zone. I looked at him and I recognized that it was Revazar, but he looked like Rod Serling, the old 50 and 60 show called The Twilight Zone. And so all of a sudden, I was talking with Albert about certain things, but he wasn't interested. And then the scene changed, and I looked out the window, and I could see Revazar escorting Albert to where he was going to go. That's the guidance. In other words, Albert wanted to go to the 7th level. That was his big deal, always talking about the 7th level. Well, Albert really didn't do anything or recognize, etc. He had the opportunity to do a whole lot with me and the projects and whatever. 4 years, over 4 years, we were with Albert. And he kept saying, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, did nothing. It's not about the money, but not 1 cent contributing to anything, because it was all about him. And so where he ended up was with his grandfather and grandma on the real side in the lower astral realm, where he's playing with whatever his dragons and whatever, etc., because he's part of the dragon family. So he's just hanging around because, see, I can see the challenge that he had, and that is that he had this title. He had this idea about himself and the family. Hey, he's the richest family in the world. That's supposed to mean something, you see? But guess what? To the sun shining in all life, doesn't mean anything. Unless you can do something creatively with it, means zero. And so he's just dealing with his situations. His wife actually went Phoebe. She had cancer and she passed over. And Albert actually let himself go. He did a kind of a suicide in a way. He was just, etc., because his wife had passed over, and he just kind of let go and shown that he basically just let himself go. And that was it. Phoebe went to Revazar on the real side, not Albert. He couldn't understand it because, see, he really didn't have the intent. He had this idea about himself instead. That idea came first. He never recognized really anything, So, and he shared the NUUU. He brought some really cool people around. He did that, etc. But, it's like doing one assignment when you have a college course to be a doctor. That doesn't make you the doctor. You got to do a whole lot. And Paul used to say, in the master days, it's like the master earns his way. And that's very true. I mean, it's huge. And who can say when that is? Yeah. So, again, we can deceive ourselves into thinking in the literal sense, but that's not it. That's just the start. And this is what Paul started off with. Those that can see it, it was in the literal sense, and he had to give description and whatever, so he made it fun. Just like in the Bible, there's some descriptions or whatever, but very vague, talks about dreams, etc. And so Paul refined that a little bit, but it's huge to recognize and to stand real like the real guides and have the ability to manage that position. Yeah, a lot of people want to be president of the United States, but can you handle it? Can you really handle all that and doing all that? It's nuts. Well, this is even bigger. This is even more, a whole lot more than anything here. And the strongest men in the world can't do this because it's all about them. So, yeah, you want to let people know. It's not about, oh, I want to get to the 7th level. It's about figuring out yourself and learning to recognize what is real and stepping up and doing something real and prove it. You have to prove it, not just say it or, oh, I love life or I love the is. No, you have to prove it. That's real. Just like the real guides. 24/7, they're there. And all they want to do is help people realistically, get real. And so this is what we're doing. You're already doing it. You don't have to search for anything. Just be now, be real, and be sincere to, show people that there's something else. You have the courage and you're stepping up. I see people here in the United States and other places, they're fine, but they won't do it because they don't have the courage to do it. And it's not like, oh, they read the books and do the NUUU and they're showing all these things and they're going to pop right in the 7th level. They don't even recognize it. How can you do it? How can you be the isness when you can't recognize it or know what to do? You got to figure out what you're doing here first. You got to go through the steps, just like we went to school, kindergarten to 12th grade and then to college, whatever. It's a process. So it's time to get real. The old promises that if you're a good person and you're Christian or Muslim, you're going to go to heaven according to what someone has written. Yeah, that's all marketing ploy. You might go to a nicer place, but you're still going to be a slave in creation. You're still going to be tap-lined because you're thinking that you're in a nice, happy place. Like a lot of people here that can do it, they can go to, beautiful islands and stay there and think, oh, we have freedom here and whatever. You ain't got nothing here. You came here to wake up. It's not about making it a la-la land because it ain't going to stay la-la land for long. Even if it's 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The moment comes when it's done because cause and effect is constantly taking place. That's real. You can't outdo that. That's just how it is here. And as long as you've got bodies, you got to deal with that. I got to deal with it. I got to go through all these things, the aches and pains and the burden and the karma and whatever. When I first took the rod of power, the boys brought me all kinds of personal karma from others. They dumped it on my front lawn on the real side. And they just kind of looked at me and smiled. Okay, it's your turn. Well, that's just part of the job. So those that step up, yes, you're going to be hated, you're going to be burdened, you're going to be attacked. That's how it is. But if you don't do it, what do you got? You got nothing. So the old saying, no pain, no gain. And that's very real. This is how it is. So sorry, it's the earth. But that's why we came here. And I'm very grateful every moment that I know this. Because I look at my life from the beginning till now, what a difference. What a real difference it's made. And I'm so grateful that I am aware of this. And the best part is that I have the freedom to present it. And I get to do that all the time. It's so cool. And try to arouse and the sincerity in people and to, you might say, trick them into being wonderful. Yeah, that's the fun part.